Hey, and welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. It is Jeff Whitgren here. We meet here every Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern and wrap our heads around Zoom and test and dig hard into the documented and undocumented features and make ourselves better prepared for that next gig, that next meeting, that next job we've got. So anyways, always a pleasure to be here and share. We've got a couple in the room, hopefully always the light audience is part of it's on me on the late marketing and letting everybody know that we're going to be here. But next to that is oftentimes it represents a lot of people being busy out there as well. So we hope that's the case where people are working and earning money, and we've been able to, as a Zoom community, help them be well prepared to do what they need to do as well. So anyways, welcome. We've got a couple here. We've got Ray. How are you, Ray? Good to see you.
I'm well, thank you. Good to see you.
Likewise. I like seeing your photography posts that you put out there.
I enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah. I love photography myself and have for years and years, but you know, like a lot of things, you just don't get enough time to get out there and really do it justice, if you will.
The software that I use is from a company that's based in Ukraine, actually, and as a lot of these photo software companies are, Skylum, and the program I use is Luminar AI and Luminar Neo. Both of them a lot of fun to work with.
Very cool. Yeah, love what you put out there. We've got Joe in the house as well. Welcome, Joe.
Yo, thank you, sir.
Good to have you here.
Appreciate it. So I finally got out in the field after 2 years. I've been hiding in the studio since I'm going to say April of 2019 was my last gig out on the field.
Yeah.
I finally, not my own gig, working for somebody else, but I did that yesterday, and I've got another one next week. So excited about that so much. It's so much fun. I really enjoy being on site for an event rather than sitting in the studio.
Yeah, you know, there's quite a bit more involved in lugging everything in and getting it all set up and configured, but the energy that's there and
from the car to the tech table, this gig was about 20 feet.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, I'm leaving Monday to head down to Tulsa and participate in broadcasting an event they've got going on at the PGA Championship down there at I'm trying to remember, Stonehill, I think, the greens, and so that'll be fun. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm working with a company that I really enjoy working with they're out of South Dakota, but they keep me busy at times. Right now, exceptionally busy, so that's a good thing, and it's fun to be. So I'm commonly their vMix and Zoom tech, and that's the streaming arm of the live event. And you know, some still have nice strong remote audiences, and some are, you know, they look at it after it's done and go, wonderful, do that again. But I think there's a lot of contributors to that as well, in the sense that you know, how strongly did they pay attention to their broadcast as well as the live event, right? And so the live event can often take a lot of the focus and the efforts and planning and logistics, and the remote is an expense, and they don't spend a lot of time on it. Seldom is there a production piece that is happening for the remote audience while the live audience is doing something differently, whether it's a break or a discussion or things like that. And so there's commonly right now not that attention being given, and so it concerns me a bit where, you know, is the remote audience going to return if really all to do is watch a camera on the wall view? And
if you don't mind, Jeff, let me relay my experience from yesterday's event, which goes right into what you're saying today. So I did the live stream portion of it, and effectively I played out the videos and put up the graphics slides and stuff on the live stream, you know, to keep in sync with what was going on in the room. But the folks who set up it's not the itinerary, what's the right wording here,
Agenda,
but the agenda for the show, it just didn't make sense. And if had I been in the production sooner, I would have recommended something else, because what they did was it was a luncheon. So they opened the luncheon with a woman. The host comes out for 5 minutes to open the luncheon, and then she throws it out, 20-minute break for lunch. So what's going on in the live stream? 20 minutes, absolutely nothing, with really no information for them as to when they'll be back. So the whole meat of the event happened after lunch when they came back. You know, I would have done it completely different. I might have recorded that 5-minute introduction and then had it ready after lunch and started the live stream then. That's probably the way I'd have done it or recommended it to be done. But what you're saying there is it totally, whatever audience was coming in to view the live stream, it just didn't work for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's anticipating, right? During the planning stages is anticipating, you know, those gaps that the live audience would have, which of course you deal with, but also anticipating the gaps that the remote audience will incur if you don't plan for them as well. Whether it's you playing pre-recorded videos or whatever the case may be, or a crew that's in, you know, a host or two that are in a different room that then fill that space and, who knows, recap the morning's events or discussions or panels. Hard to call, or possibly even engage that remote audience in some two-way, you know, conversation as well. So you know, that's something, you know. Question is should the remote audience experience something that the live audience didn't or couldn't or whatnot? And I think the answer is fair in a lot of events that yes, they should, you know. Why else would they participate, you know? And then as well as if you are recording the event and they're going to post it on YouTube, and there's nothing special about being there as a remote audience member live, being the key word, that there was nothing live that you couldn't see and hear in playing back the recording as well. And so thinking about those those moments, whether they're giveaways or interactiveness or a conversation with a very popular keynote speaker or something like that, you know, if there's nothing special to bring that remote audience in for a reason that says, I'm only going to be able to do this and participate in this during the live portion. Yeah, I can play it back, but won't have the chance to talk to that person or whatnot. Then, you know, you have to consider why remote, right? But then you back yourself down into, you're comfortable with the live events, you're excited about the live in-person events, and now you've strapped yourself down to boundaries of who can attend, right? And those folks who can't attend, whether it's distance or cost or whatever the case may be, you've found yourself back into those tighter boundaries of who your audience can be. And I think most organizations during that conversation would say, yeah, we want that remote arm, and so that we can penetrate the boundaries of attendance and so forth. But then the next question is are they going to truly pay attention to the dual production, if you will, the live portion and the remote portion, and the gaps that can exist in between, and attend those in their planning. So yeah, it's fun to be involved with them for sure, and the exposure to all the things so many of us have, you know, talked about and heard about, you know, through office hours and our own professional discussions and so forth become very, very apparent when you're actually involved in them. And when it's freelance work, and I do a lot of it, you're not commonly part of that planning stage at all. You come to simply execute, and so at that point, it's really too late to make a change and make a difference.
I grew up listening to the Metropolitan Opera on the radio, and the Met Live broadcast during the intermissions or what have you always had some kind of an interview that the live audience didn't get to see, and it was always kind of inside baseball that kept the radio audience listening. They still do it now with the remote broadcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm hearing a lot of good ideas from you guys, and I have another event very similar a week from now, and it might have a little bit of lead time to poke some of that stuff in, because it's going to be the same thing. What's going to happen? What's going on to the live audience, the remote audience, while the room's on break? That's a big issue in yesterday's event, and possibly next week's.
Yeah. Well, I think the consideration that has to be made either in review or run is what are we or the customer doing or not doing to actually abandon our customer base, and that's that's all about their experience online. If it becomes purely evident very quickly that they are the secondhand audience, if you will, and little care or concern has been taken for their experience, they'll feel it, and like so many people have said, is they simply won't return it. It wasn't worth it, especially if it was a paid ticket, and a paid ticket is also the value of their time as well. Even if it was a free ticket, it's the value of their time. So yeah. Sky, you've sat there patiently. Welcome, and you've got your hand up as well. So what do you got for us? You're muted.
I was looking at Joe's website, and that muted me. It just made my mouth. No, sorry. I think I'm looking at your website, chillevents.com.
Chill.
Which one?
Oh, yeah.
Look at you.
No, because I got the Preposterous Films logo up there too, which is what that was my branding before. That was when I was doing video production, content production.
As a one-person focus group, I can tell you, I can read Chill Events both in your name and the logo. I can't quite understand what that red and green graphic is. While it's fun and it's small, and so there's that observation. We were just having this conversation. Back to why I had my hand up 10 minutes ago. I realized the participation versus observation. Oh, now he's making. Yes, I can read your logo now. That's my favorite client request is make the logo bigger. Like, okay, whatever. So we're having this engagement question, and I was remembering sitting in an airplane once when the first touch screen monitors were on the back of the seat in front of us, and an older guy sitting next to me just kind of looked up at it, and I saw him kind of look at it, and he got out his book and he started reading, and then the young 20-something immediately got on it and started touching it, and I was kind of somewhere age-wise in between as a demographic, and I poked at it occasionally a little more timidly. But I realized your question, Joe, is the audiences, do they want to participate, or do they just want to be engaged? And
well, in my experience, I do one on a monthly basis where it includes a question and answer period with the audience, where they get to type in their questions in chat, and I find it just doesn't work. And we always go to some preloaded questions because we rarely get a question from the audience. So I think although that's something you can do, it's not the best, or there needs to be other options. There needs to be some variety other than just this Q&A period.
I was introduced. Well, the structure of your show, the Q&A period, that's a good point too, of your run of show. And at this point, we'll be having opportunity to engage. But then the low barrier to entry for your audience, if they are wanting to get in that conversation, I was kind of introduced this morning in the office hours experience of the inside of Zoom, how they're upgrading that interactive possibility now that Andy Lucio is in there helping shape and guide that story, that conversation. So
Yeah.
are you saying
Yeah.
people do want to participate, but they kind of suck at it? So is that you or them?
No, it's us. What I'm saying is, from my standpoint, audience participation is important, and I want to be able to give the audience that opportunity. What I'm saying is the Q&A thing that we're doing just isn't working for them. There's got to be something a little more lively, maybe. I don't know the answer. That's why I'm stuck with this Q&A that's not working.
Well, and you referenced, and we find ourselves going to canned questions because people aren't taking advantage of the Q&A. It made me think canned questions could be a bit of an equivalent to planted remote audience members as well, and that is people with a voice and so forth, and even those plants, if you will, that will submit some chat and some Q&A and lead by example that it is fun or exciting or acceptable, whatever it is, to participate as a remote audience member. A lot of times it's people don't want to be the first, but they're more than willing to jump in, and so having one or two people out there in that remote audience by design may help encourage that connectivity as well. I think about it's the if we I think there's a big difference between a presenter or a presentation stopping everything and asking a question and stopping and waiting for answers or responses. There's a big difference between that and them, let's say, presenting or having a discussion and on a produced piece where you can scoot them over, drop them in, throw up a QR code to a question or feedback or challenge or things like that. Now it's not an abrupt stop and wait, which can get comfortable quickly with silence, and versus while they're presenting or on a discussion point, it's the option to participate, right? I guess there's always an option, but there's an option to participate without the presence of silence or break or those moments that get created that make an audience uncomfortable, because all of a sudden they're supposed to speak up, and so it could be, I think there's just so much to be learned, and I'm not here to be a critic. I'm just kind of talking out loud on the experiences are right now, and because every event is different for sure. Some speakers are just phenomenal, and they can handle and deliver about anything under many different circumstances. But some need help as well. But it's it's one of those things when a customer truly desires to go beyond their geographic boundaries by adding that remote deliverable. They have to understand what they should be committed to at that point, which is some production concerns that are remote only.
So Joe, what have you seen? How long has this chill events been going?
I started, I'm going to say, real early in 2020. I've been doing Preposterous Films, which is the production side, for years, but I shifted to live events about 5 years ago. So Chill Events has been in studio only for 2 years. I'm finally getting out in the field. But
are you finding? I'm curious now that the globe is familiar with the phrase, group chat, or sorry, gallery view. We've learned a lexicon as a human species of this interactive process. Have you found that your audiences are more familiar and comfortable with interacting than they were 18 months ago?
So in this particular event that I'm talking about, that happens on a monthly basis, it's some talking heads. It's a Q&A session. That's pretty much all it is. But it's done with Zoom webinar, and they don't, and they just can pump to them. Any interaction they have is through the chat only. We're looking at moving that to a different platform we like to use, which is our own landing page with a chat and some capabilities to doing polls and stuff like that. I think that's a little bit more interactive, but there's no visual thing like this with the matrix of people. It's just they're just getting the content because it's a webinar. So I'd like to make it a little bit more, I don't know, exciting is maybe not the right word, but engaging, put it that way, because it is just a sense of a handful of talking heads with one special guest that they talk to.
I try to explain to the client that the distractions of the remote audience is enormous compared to the distraction of the live audience. So that if you want to, keep them focused on your event to make it worth the money that you're spending on it, instead of doing Facebook or whatever they might be doing, that's when you have to add the production value. That's where you have to be a little more engaged with them, because otherwise, outside of this box, right in front of me, I've got 7 more screens to watch. I've got a book to finish writing. I've got a lot of other things. So unless the production is involved a little more in the remote audience delivery, you're going to lose them there. You think you got them, but you don't got them.
Yeah, I'm watching That Girl. That Girl comes out at 12 o'clock. Actually, there's 2 episodes. There's another one at 12:30.
So we're still competing against broadcast television. Okay. And I like how you're packaging your services and you're giving ideas of, oh, well, this concept is good for birthdays. This concept is good for a planning meeting. But to Ray's point, to be engaging means a production, and not everybody's a good performer. Not everybody's interesting. They may have the information and they be the one paying you, but I was curious how you had seen your audiences that had hired you. Did they get their value from your service? What were, maybe that's a better question. What values did they perceive they got from your services? That's
right. I see. No, we do have a nice presentation as far as graphics and whatever it is we do to add to the value to the show. We've always gotten compliments back, and they enjoy what we do. But I don't believe they're seeing it from the perspective of the audience, the remote audience. They're seeing they're seeing it from the perspective of the content that we deliver. But they're not. I don't believe that very often the client is seeing it from the perspective of the remote viewer and their experience. I think the experience is dull and boring, and I want to spice it up.
Every professional, go ahead, Lois, I'm sorry.
Do you have feedback from their audience as to what the audience thought about presentation, or is it just they were there or they were not there?
Right, I have not gotten any feedback, or I'm not going to say I haven't gotten enough feedback. I haven't gotten any. So I think I maybe better work that with the client. See, let's see what kind of feedback we're getting from.
Does the client get feedback that you don't?
I will pose that question, because I think it's becoming more important now that things are going back in the world and things are going back to these hybrid events. It's more important now that we learn what the audience experience is and how we can make it better.
One of the things, okay, I'm looking at this as a whole, and I know that the person who's hired you wants to get this information to someone. I don't know the situation here, so I'm not sure if it's new people or it's talking to the staff or whatever. If it is attempting to get information to new people, if the client is willing to, you might have a portion of the program where there is someone who is good at media to interview, to ask the questions, to keep it moving. I don't know how many people have said to me, oh, I can't talk for an hour. And I bring them on my show. And because I'm there and I'm energizing them, and their presentation gets better. They get more enthused and the audience gets more involved just because there's another person helping them articulate what they're doing. I don't know if that would work in your situation or not, but it's a thing to consider.
Yeah, in general, in all of this, it's a very good thing to look at in this particular series that I'm talking about. You know, they have a series of hosts that they rotate through. Some are better than others, but they do engage their guest speaker. They do a very good job of engaging their guest speaker and presenting the content they're trying to do. Very seldom is it high or unwatchable. It's just that from my standpoint, I always want to make the experience for the audience in some way interactive or engaging rather than just watching the content we're delivering. Right? So I see your point, keeping the presenters upbeat and a smooth, easygoing type presentation. That's always easier to watch, right? Than a dry, Q&A session with a guest. So, but I see your point, Lois, and I thank you for your input.
That's the same thing with a live audience. A dead show is a dead show, but you have a captive audience as opposed to a distracted or a delayed audience. That's the other advantage we sell to this idea, is that people can watch it again later. But if it's deadly, nobody's going to watch it after a couple of minutes. I think it's Alex that keeps beating home the point that don't count the number of YouTube people that watched your show, how many stayed to watch the whole thing. And if it's dull as dirt, you may get a large click, but you won't keep an audience, and therefore couldn't sell soap and wouldn't be on the network. Right, Scott?
Well, as people just don't come back. They don't tell you. They just don't come back. And so, surveys, and Nisa, mentioned as well, which are, I think ultimately important to all audience members, live and remote, gathering feedback on their experience and so forth. But I think they're very, Zoom has had surveys, available for a long, long time, and to really leverage those and do them in-house as well, and continue to work towards improving the program and the experience for all audience members. But it's still a 50-50 shot whether they're going to be open and honest with you and let you know that the online experience was horrific and so forth. And I see things happening at churches, and I'll say this because really, and the question is it relative to corporate as well? I don't think it's as relative, but churches are starting to stop streaming to force their congregation back into the chapels, if you will, and with that, it's there's part of me that understands the concept, and then there's part of me that doesn't understand that concept as well, and is corporate going that route exactly? No, because they don't have like the direct effect, if you will, that, you know, there's a lot of mobile offering apps that make it easy to, you know, donate to and so forth. But at the same time, the, you know, the direct correlation to, let's say, being in the chapel and having that offering tray, if you will. Our church doesn't do trays, but you know, having that offering tray or experience to give and support the church is I'm sure an active pain point for a lot of leaders of different organizations. And so I think they have a direct correlation there. I don't think that's corporate America necessarily, but you know, is it part of kind of this underlying, maybe not talked about, but we really just want to go to live events. That's what we've always done. That's what we know how to do, and so forth. And maybe that's what's behind why they don't focus or seem to care about the remote experience versus there's other companies that are doing it right. I mean, my wife and I were in New York City 2 weeks ago, and we were at Jazz at Lincoln Center for a day for our son, and you know, in the audience, you know, between these 10 big bands that came on stage and off stage, there was this gap of time, right, to pull the rhythm section out and unplug them and bring the next one on and then bring the band on and so forth. And so they had pre-planned to have this gentleman, you know, go up on the side, and we could see it, you know, we could see that this big panel light came on and the camera came on, and he was interviewing the band director and a couple of the soloists and so forth. And that was what we could see it, but we couldn't hear it. And we, you know, I mean, we could hear it if we sat close enough to them, but it wasn't for the local audience. It was for the streamed audience only. And it was that time filler and gave them an insight, like the voice of, you know, a couple of the instrumentalists and the director and, you know, their program and so forth, that we in the live audience didn't even get. And I'm sitting there, one, looking at these $15,000 Panasonic PTZ cameras they've got all over the theater, which was just amazing. But it was evidence that that they, you know, have made the investment, whether it's partnership, and I say partnership on the hardware, because we also visited with the owners of Birdland, the jazz club there in New York City, and they have a pretty significant investment in streaming their bands as well, their musicians. And I asked him about that, naturally, because of my interest, and he said, well, we didn't pay for any of that. And they've done it 100% through a partnership of a provider who came in, provided the equipment, the install, they manage it, and then they share the revenue that comes from it. And I'm like, that's just a splendid idea, to where they, you know, they've got a company behind it all, hardware and management, that understands it and those struggles, you know, show on stream, and but yet they still get some, you know, financial benefit, and they'll stick with it because they have nothing to lose, right? Because it's not their investment and so forth. So I thought that was great, but it's really apparent.
Your partnership idea reminds me of driving down the 405 here in Seattle, and the organization or company in Texas that put in the speed lanes that you can get into is a partnership with the state. And they said,
Interesting.
We will give you a revenue source for your traffic problem and take care of it for you if you let us play inside your freeway. And yeah, that's
cool.
I do have another question, but Lois is ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Lois. You're muted. You're still muted.
Perception of what would spice it up or make it better is one person's perception. If you have a recording of this, you might consider actually pulling together a bunch of people after hours or whatever and asking them to watch the video and then put out a fairly extensive poll afterwards, which you can do in a Zoom meeting easily, and get other people's reactions to what would improve it, what is bothering them, anything like that. It's just, when we're talking to the choir, we're only going to hear our own song. But if we can
Yeah.
get there to get other information, might help.
Actually,
I'm really loving it. I'm sorry. I'm really loving that idea, Lois. I'm just wondering where I can find a bunch of suckers like that.
After hours, easy.
but I think, Lois, to your point, more importantly, I would make the people that are doing the talking watch their own content first.
Well, yes, that's true too. But
Because
when you're
that's what
talking about spicing it up, you know, what is
people,
good spice and what is? I'm allergic to chili peppers. I don't want any chili peppers in mine.
yeah, people were allergic to Madeline Smithberg too, and some really loved her and some didn't. And she was an acquired taste. But that was the hard thing week 2 when Lindsay said, I'd forgotten I hadn't watched broadcast television in 25 years. I had no idea what late night TV was. It's like, oh, that's a conflict because she's very in your face New York. So can I change the subject, Jeff? I want to ask Joe a question.
Yeah, looks like we're okay on anybody else in the same context. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, the question I have is, Joe, I love your website. If it's not yours, I'm looking at somebody's website called Chill Events, and I see you've in a form of business, you're trying to figure out sustainability. You're trying to find your margins. You're trying to find your. Do you mind if I tell you that I did the math on your 3 hours for your amount? And I realized we used to do production in TV and film $1,000 a minute, $10,000 a minute, and that was a matrix that we could try to go and give client that said, I want to make a film or I want to do a video. And we used to have that because the barriers to entry were all the hardware and then the software and then the people that knew how to use it. And I'm realizing even your big basic meeting is like $1.90 a minute. And when you reverse engineer that, but I get you're in a crowded marketplace of everybody's got a mobile, or the people that is your audience have some kind of broadcast device. So I'm trying to figure out where the sustainability in our industry is at $1.90 a minute.
I guess I'm lucky nobody's never booked anything through the website. Actually, I never touched that website. My kids built that. Kids, they're adults, but my children, they built that. I really don't know what those pricing schemes are, and that's my own. It's kind of dumb, but yeah, I don't.
Oh, I'm not. This is not a criticism. This is I'm
No.
trying to figure this out too. How do we,
Yeah.
like,
No.
back to Jeff's question earlier, my pastor, I'm finally said, we have more people participating in your sermons outside of the building still 6 months later. You have an entire congregation. And then he went on and he started reading the registrations and he realized, oh, these are people I want to stay connected with. And he all of a sudden, that next Sunday, he was looking into camera and talking to Sally, and George and Alex and Bill and Fred and Fiona. And it's like, that's why, Lois, when you said, have somebody else look at the stuff, yeah, but it still is irrelevant if the person doing the talking doesn't take the advice given and or observe how crappy they look or sound. They may be happy with the toupee on the side. I don't know.
I'm gonna take your advice and adjust my pricing of my website because normally an event that I do is anywhere between $1,200 and $2,500. So I don't know these $60 meetings we're talking about. Glad nobody's ever booked one of those.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, I thank you guys, Sky, for having that candid conversation. It's helpful too. I mean, a lot of times we don't, like when Lois said, she'll watch our own stuff. It's like, I don't want to watch me. I mean, a lot of deliverers and speakers don't necessarily like watching themselves, but it's critical, and it's not just them, but the audience as well, and their peers and supporters and so forth. So it really have to open yourself up to you know, if you really want to, you know, make a better program, if you will, and produce a better experience. I do want to transition because David Paskin has arrived. His hand is up as well, but I know he's limited for time as well. As if you don't mind me sharing, your daughter's bat mitzvah is this weekend, and so you've got a lot on your plate. And but I appreciate you stopping by, and if you let us know if you I have an invite out to him to, you know, share what he's learned and so forth on the whiteboard that we kind of dabbled with a little bit towards the end of last week's Zoom Test Kitchen. But if you've got time to still kind of share with us what you've learned and so forth, that would be great.
I'd be happy to, but can I ask a question first?
You bet.
So I was running a meeting earlier today with 10 breakout rooms, and I needed to be able to move people in and out. And one of the things I found is that when someone, I'm not sure what they pressed on their end, but somebody would come back from a breakout room into the main lobby where I was. Their name in the breakout room panel does not jump back up to unassigned. It stays where they used to be.
It stays and it says not joined.
Not
I
joined,
believe.
but
Yeah.
then, let's say that I had a few people jump out of the room that they needed to be in. I could not put them back in that room. I had to move them to another room and then say, don't accept that invitation, and then move them back into the right room. I had no way to unassign them back into the main room. What am I missing?
Lois had her hand.
You're not missing a thing. That's exactly how it works. It is so frustrating. There's a daily meeting in the morning, a meeting for worship, and exactly that happens. So what we have gotten used to is we keep a couple of people out in the main room to move people around. And when someone comes back and we say, what room would you like to go to now? And it's the same room that they were in. What we do is we have a room set up that we just click them to, put them in there for a moment, and then click them again. And usually they haven't even joined the first one before the second one comes up, because the second message will replace the first message. So if you're fast enough, they don't even know.
So yeah, that's essentially what I did. I just said, you're going to get an invitation to join a room. Don't accept it. And then when I click the second button, now accept this one.
Yeah.
I don't even bother to tell them. We're fast enough that when something flashes up on the screen, before they even can read it, the other one has replaced it. And that seems to work okay. But yeah, would it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you could move them back to the main room when they left? Maybe someone could ask Zoom about that.
I also found, by the way, that once I opened the rooms, so I had your exact idea. I had the idea that I had created all my rooms. I should create another room as like a holding room, so I could do exactly that. You can't create new rooms once you've created rooms, unless I closed everything.
So what we do is we put the name.
You can add rooms now.
You can add.
I
new
couldn't.
rooms now.
I couldn't.
You may need to check your settings first.
Oh, I'm on the latest one. Is there a setting on the back end?
In the breakout rooms, there may be, but I know I've created new breakout rooms in the midst of. As long as you're not starting off with a locked one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In just the last few months, that's editing breakout rooms while they're open was a feature that was.
Can we
added.
find where that is? Because
I'm gonna check the back end and see.
I'm looking right now also. Breakout room, allow host to assign participants, allow host to broadcast message, allow host to view activity statuses. Okay. There's nothing in at least the basic settings. Let me go into the account settings.
What we do to get around that is we create 12 rooms and we only name 7 of them. And the other is room 8, room 9, room 10. And so then you can just, if people want to talk to each other, not in the main room, okay, go use room 12 or whatever. So that's how we've gotten around the fact that sometimes people want to add rooms.
Right.
And I haven't found a way to do it during the process. I mean, once they're open.
Under the account management settings, there's a allow host to create, rename, and delete breakout rooms when rooms are open option.
Wait a second. Where is that again?
It is, it's under the, the account holder settings, in meeting advanced, sections called breakout room.
No, I don't have that. So I wonder, I'm just on a pro account, not a business account.
Yeah.
I don't remember having to request this. I want to see if it's under regular settings too. Yeah, let me double check that.
And what's Jeff's version versus yours, David?
I'm on
This is the back-end
5.10.4.
portal. Yeah, so even under user settings, so a lot of the admin settings are make it this when a user is using their account. Some of them are on there and it's global, but this one is a base to level up. So that option wasn't selected under the admin account settings, but it is available in my user account settings also. Let me
Are you in pro
share
account
this.
or you have a more expensive?
No, this is it's an enterprise account, but I
Yeah.
really don't think this is an enterprise feature. It says this feature is available with version 5.9.3 or later. And if I share, well, actually I'm capturing the screen.
So this is what I'm seeing, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, I got it pinned.
That's what I see as well, but mine does it.
That is there, and so I mean you can do just that. I mean while they're open, you can add rooms, and I think I recall Ed Willick in the past talking about that, that trick of having that separate room, and and you can either give them instructions. Hey, when you get to this room, go ahead and join the room you desire, or don't leave any of it to them, and
I think this is
pull 'em
on the
back.
enterprise side though, because it is not here.
If you start a meeting, like I've actually started a meeting and I'm looking at my breakout room setup right now, and I told it to start with 6 rooms. And in the options dialog at the very bottom, there's an additional button that says add a room. And I just continue adding rooms even though I had 6 to start.
But did you open them? That's the question.
I haven't opened them yet. Okay, so let me open them.
Change it before you open them.
Hold on. Yeah, it'll let me add them before I open. Now I'm gonna, I've opened all the rooms. Now I'm gonna close all the rooms.
Well, you don't,
And it still allows me to open after the rooms have been opened initially.
but you've opened them, but you closed them. And what we're saying is while the rooms are open and there are people out there doing things, can I add them? And I don't see how.
No,
I'm gonna share
the add a
my-
room disappears.
Okay,
I'm going
Oh,
to
right. Yeah,
share
that was my point.
that was,
I'm
yeah.
going to share my screen, which is Lois right now, and a floating gallery, and I'm going to go to breakout rooms, and so we can. It says they're not started, and go to the options, allow participants to choose. I mean, go ahead and guide me through what you want set as options, David. So we kind of do a.
It doesn't
match.
matter what you said as options there. It's once you open the room, you can't add a room.
Well, when I'm trying to test something that David experienced, I just like to match. That's all. That's the only reason.
No,
I have
it doesn't. Again, it doesn't matter. Just
Okay.
open breakout. That
Yeah,
option.
I don't have that option and I'm on education. So
let's research this a step further at Zoom then. And here I'll stop sharing, and we'll go to Zoom documentation. Manage breakout rooms.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Oh, I see it. No. Hold on. I got it. Okay. So close all rooms. All right. So let me share this. Okay. So I've got a separate Zoom open here. I've got rooms that I created, and I have add a room. I can add as many rooms as I want. As soon as I open those rooms, so there is add a room, but as soon as you open those rooms,
That's what I was saying before.
correct.
How do we go
I
to it?
apologize. I'm sorry.
But all right.
So, but you seem to have it, Jeff, persistently, which is interesting. So that must be a difference between.
Yeah, so I when I opened them and you saw my screen, I opened 6 rooms. And while you were in breakouts momentarily, I added it, and now it's at 7, 8, and 9 as well. So I added 3 while you were out there. So I am, well, I'm going to turn these closed captions off, not globally, but mine, so they get out of my way. And I'm going to share here again and just research this. The managing them, selecting breakout rooms, full co-host, creating, removing, renaming breakout rooms after launch. Client requirements says this applies to host, co-host, and breakout room participants. Adjusting breakout rooms while they're open must be enabled in your account. And
Hey guys, while Jeff is reading, is his screen blown out for anyone else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my monitor. Sorry.
yeah, I see it on my streaming machine too.
Yeah.
That's
It says enabled by Zoom. Must be enabled for your account by Zoom.
yeah, I didn't get that.
Is this again a thing that one needs to request,
Now
perhaps?
all of a sudden I'm distracted on why my sharing in Zoom is so blown out. Let me real quick, let me share the browser instead of the screen, and that's doing the same thing. That's really weird. Huh. And if that's weird, is that coming from this, let me share my second screen instead of my third. Because even my vMix screen capture is capturing it locally blown out. So if I do it on the second one, yeah, that is just weird. Huh.
And it was clear for a moment and then suddenly changed. So just a moment there, she looked normal, and then
Let me, I'm gonna kill this feed. Try it one more time. Now I can. Oh, too weird. I have some kind of weird color space issue.
I've got it up here. If I think this is what you were trying to show us.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, under the notes and/or if you, if you have found it.
would you spotlight David's? There we go.
Adjusting breakout rooms while they're open. Enable on your accounts.
Yeah. Adjusting
no,
breakout rooms while they are open must be enabled for your by Zoom. Enabled in breakout room settings and have all participants connected through version 5.9.3 or higher. But you can already add, I can add participants. I can rename. I don't think I could delete the room. I tried to do that. I couldn't.
So it says
the option to delete a breakout room is only available if the breakout rooms have not been opened. Right.
Yeah. So it looks like you have to send a support request. I don't think it's about your license as much as the support request. And maybe they've got multiple checkboxes and they didn't check that add room option on yours or something. But it
All
does
right.
look like it requires
Sending the support
at least
request
a
right now.
support. Yeah.
How do you send a support request?
Yeah, I second that.
Let me see if I can pull it up for you. I don't want to log into the wrong address here. If you just go to, I think, hold on a second. Just log in to your Zoom account, and then there should be contact sales. Is that it? Oh no, you could probably, you know what you do? You could probably actually use this guy right down here. No, that's a virtual assistant.
And when I'm logged in
Support,
Zoom back,
customer support.
there's a support.
It's under resources, account management. I want to actually speak to someone.
Good luck.
Technical support. Knowledge Resources Community Learning Center. Wow. Holy mackerel. All right.
There's a chat box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
that's a
chat
bot.
will, yeah, if you can get past the bot.
You
then-
might be able to get per person.
Here, submit a ticket. You have to dig, but
Below that, there was a phone.
I'm now giving away all of my personal information. Breakout rooms. I would like to be able to add a breakout room once all rooms are already opened. I don't see option in my settings. All right, we'll see what they say about. All right, I'll keep you all posted if I if I hear anything. But yeah, you just have to dig into. Just keep scrolling all the way to the bottom of their support pages, and eventually you get. That's what it seems like.
Cool.
So, do you want me to just share a little bit of the whiteboard stuff I was doing?
Yeah, I
Yes,
want to
please.
make one other note real quickly while we're on the breakout room topic, and that is, I saw it when you were scrolling through breakout room management. I don't know if you still have that page or not, but if you do, why don't you pop that back up and scroll up to the different things that can be done. And one of them is status. You could do a search for status if you wanted to. Oh, that was global versus like a Control F, or you're on a Mac, but Command F to do a word search in the page. Viewing activity statuses of participants in breakout rooms. And I have not done this yet, but for instance, if I'd like to, if we could really quickly, do you have time for a 2-minute exercise here, David? If
Do
if I make
whatever. We did
I'm
try this,
gonna-
by the way.
I'm
in
going
in an earlier
you?
test kitchen. We tested this, and I was not able to see any reactions. But
Okay, so I'm going to enable screen sharing before anybody leaves to a breakout room. And now I'm going to go ahead and recreate. And I'm just going to recreate 2 rooms. And I'll assign I'll let you guys choose room 1 or room 2. And so we've got 2 rooms there. You can choose them. You can return anytime. Automatically move. There's nobody to move. They close in 5 minutes. Okay, so we're good there. And then you can save your breakout room definitions now too, so that they'll be there when you get back into this meeting like next week. So you can save those, not have to, rebuild everything. Anyways,
Is that in the breakout room, the little window that you're working
yeah,
on?
the little configuration screen, right next to options, there's the triple dot button. And the only option under that triple dot is save breakout rooms. And so you can save that config. I'm going to go ahead and open them, and you can now join one or join room 2. I'm going to stay here and watch. And while you're in a room, somebody there like share your screen and so forth, so that I can see what pops up on my side.
I don't see an invitation to join a room.
I didn't assign. Yeah, you should be able to just pop open the breakout room window.
Are they open
Oh,
though?
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they're open.
Yeah, you have to click on the breakout rooms button.
Got it.
Yeah, sorry.
So that's interesting. Even though I'm not a co-host, I can still see who is in which room in breakout rooms.
Yeah.
The one that used to be me.
So I call that number. It's legit.
There you go.
What did you see?
So, although my sharing is not great, let me,
Then I call that Zoom technical support telephone number. It's legit. Zoom answers.
Oh,
there's, yeah, it is. It's normal, and then it snaps out. To
yeah, we
weird
saw
info.
it.
So weird. Anyways, you can kind of barely see this, but I just did a screen capture. A moment before this, Lois was sharing. I mean, notice, you can see if their video is on, you can see if their microphone is on or muted, and this green up arrow is the same button for your share button, so that indicates. Now, you can't mouse over and do anything, but it does kind of display what's currently, going on there. So, and keep in mind, this is in the breakout room dialog, not the participants window, which is where we're used to looking for statuses of things. This is how to keep the breakout window open.
Could we try this again with one person in the room being a co-host? What I'm trying to see, when Ray was sharing screen, I couldn't start sharing a screen, but I'm wondering if a co-host can replace with their own thing, which they should be, but don't know for sure.
Yeah, so right now, I'll just let you know that my sharing options is all participants can share, which I turned on before. I sent you there, and I hadn't checked this before, but who can start a share when someone else is sharing is set to host only right now. So participants can't trump one another, but a host can. So you want me to leave it the way it was set and see if a co-host can do that?
Yeah.
So Ray, you're a co-host. David, you're a co-host.
And I'm in room 1, and I'll share,
Yeah,
and
why
then
don't,
Lois
David, you
will
go to room
trump me.
2.
I'll try to share and then you can trump it.
Yeah, so a non-co-host, so David goes to 2, goes to room 1, and then a non-co-host in those rooms shares first, and then see if a co-host can trump their share.
Make it good, Lois.
All right. let me
I don't
open
see
these
any
up again.
breakout.
Me either.
I'm working.
Hasn't been
Oh, has
started.
to open it first and then we'll
Okay,
see
here we
about
go.
it.
There you go. They're open now.
Sorry, did you want me to share something? Share my screen?
No, go to room 2.
I'm going to room 2, yeah.
And if someone can follow you there, maybe Anissa, then let Anissa share first, and then see if you can share and trump
Gotcha.
their active share. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, what were the results there?
You took us out too fast. We were in
Did
the
I? Oh,
something.
I thought I might have waited.
Arnessa shared. I then clicked screen share, and I got this pop-up asking me if I wanted to overrule her, and I did.
Got the same thing.
The
Yeah,
power.
and out here,
What we were-
I saw Anissa sharing. I momentarily saw 2 green shares when David shared. It momentarily showed both, and then Anissa's disappeared and David was sharing. Okay. How about you, Lois?
What I was trying to check when we got summarily kicked out is whether or not a non-participant in the breakout room can see those little symbols that you were seeing. But I don't know because I got kicked out.
All right, they're open. Go, go, go.
I gotta say, I'm getting seasick. This is, dear Lord.
We need an IFB so we can talk before we're ready to go.
It's like Will Smith and Men in Black getting swung around outside the car and back and forth and back and forth. All right. So what'd you find out, Lois?
That we didn't have enough time. No, when I opened the breakout, it says choose breakout room was one of the options. Did that. I got the little box. I could see who was in the room. I could open and close the room lists, but I never saw any message that said sharing or anything like that. So Ray, who was a co-host, was trying that, and I was sharing, so he had something to look at, but we got kicked out. So
All right.
it's time to give up.
Yeah, we're not going to make Dave any further sick. All right. Well, there are indicators. I mean, you know, I think I always try to apply when would I care, right? When would I use it? And that is, you know, if we had on the agenda that we're going to have all 30 breakout rooms open for 10 minutes and we're planning, and at 10 minutes after the hour, while you're in your breakout rooms, the main session is going to share a video with audio to all breakout rooms. All the leaders in each of the breakout rooms would be aware of that agenda. I would be aware visually to make sure that the shares have been stopped in preparation. And then I would feel a bit more comfortable barging in, because it would be a barge. Like if you don't stop the share in the breakout room, I'm going to trump it, right? But it would be, you know, a little friendlier for me to be able to see that all the breakout rooms know it's 10 past the hour. The agenda says stop your share, and I can freely go start that video as well. So that's one of my initial thoughts.
You could broadcast a message to the room saying main video starting in 30 seconds or something like that.
Yep.
But you can, as I understand, you can only do it to everybody. You can't go to room 5 and send a message. You can only go to everybody. Can you send a personal message, like a chat message, to a person, like a co-host, in that room when you're not in the room? Hosts
Yes,
can.
because chat is universal.
Yeah, Arnessa just opened my eyes to this, because I always thought, because I'm an idiot, that chat in breakout rooms was just for the breakout room. And what I've always wanted to do was put my talent in a breakout room with an ISO machine and then bring them back in to my production suite, but still have them be able to see the chat and interact with the chat. And I always thought you couldn't do that. And now I was today years old when I learned that, my gosh, chat is universal.
So,
Is that
help me out, because
true?
I'm as much blind to that as you just did too as well, David. So first confirmation, your chat right now, everybody's in the main room. You have all the history since you arrived in the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh,
You don't see chats from before you arrived in the meeting.
He said since you arrived.
No, since you
No, but he's
arrived.
referring
So
to the breakout
I
room.
apologize. Yes.
Yeah.
So do you see historical chat right now that was there prior to you going to and returning from the breakout?
I have no idea when I went to the breakout room. Put me into a breakout room. Here, I'll put myself into a breakout room.
Let me tell you, so the last, because I haven't moved, the last message was from Joe, Zoom support phone number. Previous to that, Sky was saying bye to everybody. Those are the last 2 messages in chat in the main room.
Those are the last 2 that I have as well. But you notice, Jeff, that it says, "Hey, Jeff, I'm sharing my Zoom screen." I was in the breakout room when I typed that, and we're back in the main room now.
Where does it say that?
I see that too.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I wasn't in the room. I don't see that.
Oh, interesting. So I typed that at 1:06.
Yeah, I don't have that. And
Jeff, you
Wait
don't
a
have
second.
do you?
I actually,
Here's the
weird.
chat. You can see.
I have
See, this is
very little. It seems like I've lost some chat, because my oldest message is at 2:29 from Anissa. Very true. Had a few sessions fail because the presenter was an expert in their field. That's the oldest message I have. And
But I don't have that one anymore.
I don't have that one
After
either.
we came back from the breakout rooms, those old ones disappeared.
And I don't have the sharing one that you said you had sent. Huh.
Did you send that to one person, Anissa, or did you
I sent
send
it to everyone.
No, if you
while
look
we
on
were in
my
the breakout.
If you look
Yeah.
on my screen, I've got it up there. You can see it's sent to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's wild.
So
So
I don't get it then.
Something, yeah, something. Chat is because I haven't This machine hasn't moved at all. The streamer moved the first time, but that's under a different account. And
Did
but I
you
haven't-
did
I
you
haven't
make
moved at all.
David a co-host when we went to the breakout rooms?
Yeah. Ray was already one, but David became one.
So history changed at the point that you had a new co-host?
I don't think so, because if you were to
No, that
make
was
me a
later.
co-host right now, I should still see my
Like
existing chat.
It's 3:20 now. We had done that within the last 20 minutes, and my oldest message is
Can we,
2:29, so it's much older.
Jeff? I'm gonna go to a room and I'm gonna send some messages because Can we try this in real time? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
was
How do I
holding
do
off.
this? Can you
Okay, so I'm
open
gonna
rooms?
open up
Make a break room.
Let me do a recreate, and you can choose, and they're open.
All right. I'll be back.
And Jeff, to test the other part, if you'd make me a co-host, I will look at my chats and they're not away, but just to confirm that.
Sure.
Yep, I'm a co-host. My chat is always the same. Close it, open it, still there.
Now bounce to a breakout room and come back and see if it remains the same.
Okay.
I see David's mic is open and he's talking, but I don't see any text from him in the chat room, in the chats.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in chat either.
I got it. Are we back? Because that was the weirdest experience I have to say.
Really?
So check this out, right? So wait, let me pull it down here.
I saw your microphone working, David, but we didn't see anything in the chat from you.
All right. So here are my chats. I wrote like four things there, but none of you could see it. That's crazy. But then when I went to chat, I could not chat individuals
Same
who are
thing.
not
I
in my
noticed that
breakout
as
room.
well.
Just
Exactly.
everyone.
Only chat
Everyone
everyone.
in the room.
Right.
So everyone so that would be one of my questions is if can room 2 see your chats coming from
No.
everyone room 1?
So
Any
that's a
better than-
change because
So
it used to be
chats
you
are
could
not
see
universal
everything.
then.
Yeah, they're not. They're not anymore. They used to be.
Everyone is everyone in the room that you're in, whatever room that is.
Right.
Which to me makes sense with the exception of like the host in the main session out to anyone or everyone, even if they're in breakouts. Didn't even test
Did
while
you
you
try
were
that?
out there. No, so
Yeah.
But I think that's the difference between chat and broadcast message. Broadcast message is what goes out to everyone, whereas chat
it
only.
does, but it's a pop-up bubble versus a
Right.
chat thread too, right? Which is not replyable versus is replyable.
And
So-
also isn't savable
going
in the
out.
chat transcript.
I'm going out, Jeff. Write to me.
There's also the whole ask for help thing,
yeah,
where you can get the attention of the
the
I guess the owner.
The host.
So
Interesting.
Lois is gone to a breakout room. In my direct message, she's not in that list. So I'm gonna, the only choice, I mean, I can write to anybody.
I see Lois in my
but
list.
Lois, yeah, she is on the list.
She's not in my list.
Lois just came back.
Well, she is now because she came back. But she
You
was not
missed
in
a
my
lot of
list
chats,
while
Lois.
she was in breakout.
Yeah. So Lois, I saw you, and do you see any chats?
None. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Well, you can't check
Yes.
now.
When I'm back here, I now see the chats that were sent to me when I was in the room. When I was in the room, I did not see them.
So do you see the same history? Like, I mean, is your oldest
Everything-
message still the same oldest message in your chat?
Yes. Yes. Though it's interesting, now I have her face instead of just A, or AB rather, on the chats, little chats. So that's interesting. You all sent me a message while I was in there, which I did not get until I came back here. But this chat for me still showed up. And I have direct message from Anissa, and everybody message from Jeff.
And I
Yeah,
sent you a direct
but that's
message
'cause
also. You don't
were
see
on
that?
Lisa's list for direct. And
Oh,
you
yes,
were
I'm
not
sorry,
on my-
David.
You were not on my list for direct. That was different for us.
It's weird. Why would you not? You're the host? Why would you not have her?
That is so.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're not meant to be there, and I think, I mean, didn't you also say, David, she was there? They were maybe ghost entries to your drop down list. You know, they were there, and they made you think, you know, they could, but they don't.
Well,
That's
when I
interesting.
first went to the chat list, while he was in the breakout room, I didn't see her name. And then I saw her name, and then I saw her come back. So I don't know if it was
Yeah,
just
I think-
we were
I think
catching the
that was-
tail end of her coming
I
back
think
in.
you got-
Probably the
yeah.
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
That was
sense.
timing. But it's really.
But I sent messages to everyone while I was in the chat room. It only goes to
Nobody-
people who are in the chat in the room with me.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I just want to thank Arnissa for getting my hopes up, for really getting me excited about this.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry to
Dashing.
bust everybody's bubble on this, but I was in the dark and I'm like, well, I want to go see this, and no,
Well,
it's not.
it used to be something that was problematic for us when they first started, when they first introduced the breakout rooms, because all the messages were going everywhere, and then people didn't have the context of what was being said in the individual rooms.
Yeah. Makes
And
total
it's like
sense.
I kind of made a hodgepodge of conversation. So, but I'm wondering if there's any additional settings. I haven't come across anything
Yeah, they
that could be
have- they-
managed there.
They haven't changed much,
I
other than the etiquette, you know.
Yeah.
I think
I got-
backstage
I
is
got-
what's going to fix
I got a
this.
text from
Yeah.
Guy, and we had turned on etiquette last week, and I didn't realize I didn't think far enough, you know, that it was going to affect everybody. So they started having meetings, and everybody started getting the notification. Not that I didn't put any words or filters in, but everybody still gets notified because it's a global only on off. It's not a, you know, enable this, but then let the account owners decide whether they want it or not. There is no account owner decision making. So,
There's no assigned to groups or anything along those lines at
we
the group
don't
level.
I don't believe so, because we had to go, David and I both, I think, had to go down to kind of the core admin setting to enable it or not. Didn't look like there was any breakdown on that, but there's, you know, I don't manage groups and so forth on this license.
On my education level, it does have that finite level at the group setting. So if you had groups available in your account, then it can be assigned at a group level
Gotcha.
for one,
That's
but not
good.
for another.
That's
Yeah.
good to know.
I'm sorry, Lois, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm finding what we just discovered to be very exciting, because it means that while the people are in the breakout rooms, we can post in chat all the things that we want everybody to see. And when they come back into the main room, suddenly their chat is populated by all of that. And that means as long as they come back to the main room before they leave, it's going to be in their saved chat.
But
Even though
Lois,
they weren't in the room at the time it was done.
Lois, are you seeing? I sent a series of two messages. I wrote, "Hi there, and we miss you, Lois," to everyone.
I have a direct message that says, "Hi, Lois," at 1:23. At the same time, Jeff sent a message to everyone, "Hello, Lois," from Jeff. And then at the same time, Anissa sent a direct message, "Hi, Lois." That's
So,
all I see.
right. So I sent messages to everyone when you were in the breakout room, and you're not seeing them. So I wonder if what stays there is only direct messages and perhaps from the host of the meeting,
Post. Okay.
possibly.
I I would beg your indulgence. Let me go to a room. Everybody send a message to everybody. And when I come back, we'll see how many of them I see. Okay? I'm out
All
of here.
right.
Yeah, stay there a little bit so we can have time.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So you can talk to me, right? Okay. I'm opening all the rooms and then I'm going into one. I'm going in.
I just had to reopen. I think we double clicked.
That was the fastest return trip I have ever had. I hope
I know. I didn't realize Lois was
Quite.
managing them, and so she clicked and I clicked and.
Right.
Yeah, Lois is not on the drop-down list. I sent one to everyone.
Yeah, she's not in mine anymore either. So that was definitely a timing thing. Thank
Yeah,
you for that.
Same. All right, let's see what.
All right. She's back. So you're muted.
I've got
you get,
since 1:23 when Anissa said hi to me. Hi, Lois. I posted something just before I left at 1:30 exactly, and I have no messages in between.
nothing while you were in the breakout room and nothing in your chat now that you're back in the main session.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't no hosts, no co-hosts, no regulars.
Do you have history?
I have history.
I mean, how much history? How much history?
I have all the history since I joined, and I have the history since I've been in this room.
But here's why. Because none of us sent you a private message, and Jeff didn't send a message
I
to
did.
every
Jeff,
message.
you were supposed to send a message to
Where's Jeff? I don't see your message.
did.
I sent
Right.
both private and direct messages to Lois, but then Lois has dropped out of my drop-down list.
At
Right.
3:29, I sent. hello
No,
to
you're right. I'm
Jeff.
sorry, Jeff. I
Yeah.
see it.
I see it.
Wait,
Hello,
that is
Jen.
And so you don't see hello from Jeff at 3:29 either, Lois. So there's no distinguishable difference between whether the host sent it or anybody else.
Yeah, and direct or generic doesn't make a difference either. I just can't. I can't get messages while I'm in a breakout room. It looks like.
And you don't get caught up when you come back. We thought a
Right.
moment ago.
Right.
That's too
That-
bad. That would have been
That's
too much.
disheartening.
I must have just come back at the same minute that everybody clicked the button to send the message.
No, we waited for you for a while to get back.
No, I mean the,
So-
the previous time.
Oh,
In that case, since that doesn't happen, what I would do is I would create a list that could be inserted as soon as the breakouts were open over, so that everybody would see. So at least you know if it's housekeeping or whatever it is you wanted people to know, that you can just blast it.
So
with
I'm doing
control
a
paste.
copy
Do it
and
before
paste
you
in the
open the
chat
break
right
room.
now. And that's what that would look like if I did a copy and paste of the chat.
Yes.
I mean, it's there. It's not really easy to read, but you
Right.
know, but
So what we've been doing so far is if there's something that we want people to say after the meeting, it's a meeting for worship. So after that's over and we're starting to do the after stuff, we post that immediately to everyone just before we turn on chat. You can chat with each other and turn on breakout rooms so that everyone gets it in their chat before anything else. But that just means we have to have it.
But do you also want all the chats so that there's somebody that copies all the chats within the room and then posts it to the group after? So that
No.
adds another level?
No, we have the transcription enabled, and we remind people that you can look at the view full transcript and then click on save that transcript, which will save from there back, but not to
Right.
the future.
But you won't get a saved transcript in the breakout rooms. You only get it in the main room.
That's main room only.
Actually,
And-
the
and-
chats that you and I did, Anissa, they're still in my chat. Isn't
Right. The individual folks, if you were chatting with somebody else in that breakout room, then that stays in hour 2, but not
That's-
anybody else's. Right.
right?
Right.
And the
But
other,
the live transcript is also just in the main room.
but the live transcript does carry forward as long as the meeting's going. So even though
believe so.
I wasn't in the room, even though I was out in the breakout room, the main room's live transcript continues. And when I come back, I think I can see it.
I'm looking at the live transcript, but the live transcript that I can see does not include the history. It starts when we came back from the breakout room, from whatever was the last breakout room we were in. That's all I see.
Huh. 12:20. And it's now 1:35.
So Jeff, do you see a full
Underscore.
history transcript?
Well, I just pulled the transcript itself. I haven't been looking at that. I've just been looking at chat, but
So
And
it was,
there's no search in chat either.
No,
should be nice.
only in the transcript.
yeah, and even in your, if you have a Mac, even that won't search. I mean, a Mac's find will not search in a transcript. But anyway,
Hey,
yes,
but
I joined at 12:20, and that's the beginning of my transcript. So even though I went out to breakout room and came back, I'm still seeing the whole thing.
well, but the transcript itself is voice to text.
That's
And
right.
up to this point, I feel like we've been talking about chat, which is keyboard to text, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
they're two different. I just don't want there to be confusion between the two.
True.
It does, from the main room's perspective, it does track the transcript global, not globally to say breakout rooms, but from top to bottom and so forth there.
So if I go to another break, I am just jumping down today. If I go to a breakout room and you say something and I come back in, my transcript, I think, will show what you said, even though I
Yeah.
wasn't in the room.
I
So
would
let's
believe
try
that because I think I will confirm this. I'm fine with that. I think the transcript is global from the main session, whether you were here or not. Even if you showed up 30 minutes later, you'd be able to scroll back to the top of the meeting on
Nope.
the transcript.
Nope, because I came in at 12:20, my transcript starts at 12:20.
Really?
Yeah, really. I'm going to go into room 2
okay,
and
I'm
write
gonna
it.
vomit. Whoever just threw me in another breakout room. What?
I didn't do that. I think that was Lois. I've made her co-host. She's dangerous now.
By the way, there was back to chat. I don't know if you guys saw the. I wasn't able to be on this morning, but great office hours with Andy, talking about how he a workaround to bring chat. We're using Google Sheets. It just looked amazing.
That's cool.
Really want to try it.
Yeah, he's had a bridge to that for a little while now, but I haven't looked at it lately. I would imagine he's simplified, the implementation of it.
Well,
by now, too.
it actually didn't look simple at all. I would have no idea. He's using Isadora and Zoom OSC and stuff. But apparently he said that you can contact him or the folks at Zoom, and they can build something for you to do that, to bring that chat in. So
That's cool.
That transcript stopped, and mine is only showing from the time we came back from the breakout room. From this,
No
from me
history.
and Lois's. No history of transcript, not on mine.
Mine is the full thing, except I'm not sure what was said while we were in the breakout room.
we were talking about chat and Zoom OSC and Andy Carluccio.
I'm looking if there is a time gap here. The last thing I heard you say is, I'm going to vomit.
What the heck?
As I left.
No, because
Right.
you slingshot him into another breakout, and that's why he was going to vomit.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
All right.
That's funny.
Okay, I just
So
want to share something. I'm seeing something a little interesting here. And this whole behavior might be different if recording was on or off. I'm not certain, but based on what I'm reading here, it says recording is on. So the account owner and everyone in the meeting can see and save messages sent to everyone. So what happens when the recording is off? Is that different?
Are you in the chat description? All right, your mic's off. Your mic's off. Still off.
The space bar. How is that possible?
I think
Okay, how
somebody
about
may
now?
be trying to help
Now we
at
got
the
it.
same time.
Now I got you.
No, it's because I'm pressing the space bar to turn my mic on, and I'm in the chat, so I'm putting spaces instead of turning on my.
Gotcha.
So when you see the chat window down the bottom, it says who can see your
Thing
messages.
to know, yeah.
Who can see your messages? If you click on there, you get a little help box that explains what's going on. But it seems to me that maybe that behavior is different when recording is off. So much fun.
What,
Get
Dave?
everybody-
What?
I got an answer from Zoom.
Really?
Not about this, though, about the breakout rooms.
Okay.
Hey.
So they said, hold on. Oh my God, that was fast. It's
know
How
what
do
we're
you feel
talking
about
about.
this?
I know it wasn't fast enough for us, but I mean, come on. All right, so here we go. She says, thank you for contacting us. I'm MJ. We can enable the feature edit while BO start, but that's an unfortunate. That will allow you to create additional rooms while existing rooms are open. Kindly make sure the users need to write before they write. Let us know if we can proceed now. We'll have our internal team enable this feature that is free of charge on your account. There you go.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Yes.
Now did you already request 1080p?
No, because I'm not on a business account.
Ah, okay. I was curious.
I'm just on the pro account.
What was the URL you used for the chat request, for the support ticket?
Oh God, I went to, hold on.
Because
Research.
I don't see
We'll
it.
do it again. Okay, ready? So I went to Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
my account,
It's because I'm in my campus one.
resources, support, customer support. And then what do I do? Technical, so scroll down almost to the bottom. Technical support, you click on learn more.
Mhm.
And then, where's the next one? So all the way at the bottom again, submit a ticket.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of course.
you. Okay. Pop that in. Adding to our notes.
Friday.
Very cool.
I don't feel like we have a lot more clarity than we did before starting this.
Not really.
I think we have
Well, we
more
disproved a couple
inconsistency and
things.
inconclusive results. So
Not scientific enough test.
that's tough.
But disproving is good.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, when things like when this exercise, and we've gone through this exercise now and so forth, that helps us, carve our answers and responses to customers as well, right? I mean, you can either answer with confidence or you can't, right? And then you have to dig into, what are the tight requirements and then go test them just because we had so much inconsistency here. Let me run through a few over the last short few months, some standout new features just in a quick review. Not that we're going to work through them necessarily, but if it catches attention and whatnot. Go ahead, Lois.
No, I got to go at that 2:00 thing like always. So thank you. It was wonderful to see everybody again.
Good to see you again.
Meet stuff. So I'll see you some other week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Quick dark mode. Anybody using dark? If you're on Windows, you can now do dark mode zoom. It's not a Mac thing yet. I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but I would imagine they would.
Sorry,
sometime.
David.
But yeah. He
But
feels
mine's
so
already
low.
dark.
So was Mac first? Maybe Mac was first.
I don't know how
Or
to.
maybe it was defaulting to the operating system.
Yeah,
your
maybe
system
that's
thing.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can follow it in Windows as well. So if I were to share my cruddy sharing, geez, I don't know what's going on there.
Is this what you mean by
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, dark background and all. In Windows, it's an option, right? So you get a video, not video settings, but general settings. You can make it light, you can make it dark, or you can say follow the system, and so that's new to Windows in a short time. We've been over this before, is sharing the not only like a PowerPoint or video even to all breakout rooms, but now they have added the audio as well. Custom avatars, I think we hit on that a little bit a few weeks ago. Live stream to Twitch, I don't. If anybody does or needs to, it's one of those options that is built in now to live stream to Twitch. We went over this a few weeks ago, which is the slide control, presentation slide control.
Is this what you meant by the custom avatars? Is this what you're
Yep.
talking about?
Yeah.
Because they're not very custom.
Yeah,
you
they're
can-
not
you can
custom. I mean,
choose from
they're
a list, but-
Selectable.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. But there's that. And then the slide control, which I think is a great replacement for remote control, which was horrific. And so it's just kind of forward and back. You have to be full screen, whoever's sharing, so really whoever is sharing can share slides. They don't have to be the ones that are advancing it. Doesn't necessarily have to be you, the host, either, just as long as they have the rights to share. They can then go to the slide control and give permissions to whoever the speaker is going to be. And my walkthrough to people are, you're going to see the bottom left corner, the forward arrow and the back arrow. Click on the forward arrow once, and most people then find it easier to just tap the space bar to continue forward because it's bigger, or use your right arrow or left arrow on your keyboard as well. So you can stop aiming with your mouse, and that's usually my suggestion. The custom video for the waiting room, I think you guys probably, if Ray let you stay in the waiting room long enough, you saw a little bit of the video roll there, and that's there. You can also, I did not know this till recently.
Can I just say, Jeff, I love that feature. That video in the waiting
Yeah.
room is just fantastic.
That's a godsend.
I do too. Be it, it can be marketing, it can be instructional, it can just be that friendly, warm face before you actually get into the meeting. It can be the bio of the speaker, whatever the case may be. How many of you know this, that you can see the list of participants who have been invited but have not yet arrived? I didn't know that. And
Yes, I
until
just don't know
recently.
where to get to it.
Yeah, so my account is in fact integrated. It has to be integrated into your calendar, and you have to send out your invitations from your calendar naturally, because that's the tie, and then it can track and it will show you in the participants window who has been invited but hasn't yet arrived. And I'm like, that is too doggone cool.
But that's not the same. That's not referring to the same thing as a event registration or a meeting registration, right?
No,
It's a calendar.
it's just, in my world, I'd go into my Google Calendar, I'd create the invitation for this
Got
2 to
it.
4 o'clock time central. I'd I've never invited people to this meeting from my Google Calendar. I put it out as an event on Facebook and announce on Discord and so forth. But if I were to populate that with email addresses in my calendar event, which this kind of meeting maybe not, because there's a lot more people than I know. I mean, guests are always welcome, but for corporate, all day long, right?
Yeah.
Who you want to invite and so forth. And if one of those key players that was invited shows in Zoom, you don't have to leave and go remind yourself who was invited. If one of those key players hasn't arrived yet, you wait, right? If they're not key, maybe you go ahead and start. But I thought that was kind of cool at that. Create, rename, remove breakout rooms I had on my list. We obviously just covered those. Closed captions and transcripts, and then being able to schedule meetings with focus mode. And by default, get 100 people to show up in your meeting, and their natural view is the host, right? I mean, you don't even have to worry about spotlighting or anything. It will also add the spotlights as you add a second speaker, third speaker, whatever the case may be. But it naturally defaults to the host video.
It's webinar without webinar.
It is, yeah. They got us really close to that with, and you can do that while you're scheduling, so you don't forget. And as the host, it's not that you can't completely see, but it's not easy. It's not your face that when you start the meeting, it's in focus mode or it's not, right? And so it's how do you schedule it? So if that's what I desired in this meeting, I could just literally go to my scheduler. It's a recurring meeting. I'm up to almost 100 of these meetings, and just every time I started it would start in focus mode. I don't do that, but certainly would be an option now.
Jeff, I will say that if I understand focus mode correctly, the host still sees everyone's cameras. Is that correct? So
Yeah,
I can actually imagine that being really problematic for the host, because when a whole bunch of people realize that they're not on camera, they're in focus mode, they tend to not pay attention to how they look or what they're doing, and so I can imagine myself being very easily distracted by a bunch of people picking their nose or, getting rid of a wedgie or whatever they're doing.
Depending on, if it's a classroom teacher, I imagine they could use it, powerfully and say, hey, by the way, we're in what's called focus mode, so that you won't be, distracted by everybody, but I can still see all of you, right? That's that kind of idle warning that I can still see all of you. In the professional speaking side of things, it can become distracting, to see, unengaged participants. But there's no difference than if you're managing it with spotlights as well. You'll still see those people, so pick one. But those were the highlights. I mean, there have been a lot of features. I mean, Zoom, does a tremendous amount of development and code drops, but those were the ones that really stood out to me that, and if you guys, if you have others, throw them out there. If you have anything that you want to, does anybody want to test any of these, from slide control? I mean, I've got a PowerPoint, queued up that we could do the slide control thing. Any of these we could review quickly as well.
I was just curious if the PowerPoint animation work fine when you're giving slide control to someone else.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody's
I'm
experimented
going
with
to excuse myself, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Yeah,
You too. Take care, David.
Tell your daughter congrats. So yeah, I'll fire up a.
Jeff, I have to leave. I'm sorry. A great session as usual. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Bye, Ray.
Take
care.
care. I will. Now let me make sure it has. I'm not a big animation user. So this deck doesn't have it, but let me just go edit one of the slides. slide 3, I'm going to tell it to build. Say float in. Trigger.
And I was also curious if anybody's done the Zoom Administrator Academy.
I have not.
You sent an email from Heather Butler. What was the message?
I'm trying to find how to tell this to do it by bullet versus the whole group. Where in the world? I don't build these often enough to remember. Where? Start on click after previous. Oh well, it's an animation anyways. Okay, so there's one. All right, so here's the slides. I'm gonna share the deck. The deck has to be full screen in order to get the slide control option. So I launched the slide Prezzo full screen. It doesn't work if you do it in windowed. And what doesn't work is in your Zoom toolbar, when you launch a full screen presentation, PowerPoint, Google, or Keynote, you end up with a toolbar button called slide control. And so now that I'm sharing, I can do that. I can assign slide control privileges. It shows the list of Anissa and Joe at this point, and my streamer machine. I'll send that to Anissa, and now you should be able to, on the bottom left corner-ish, have your controls, and this next slide will animate. There you go. And did you see that? You saw that out there? You saw it slide in?
Yeah, I saw the drop.
And that's the only one that's animated. I just threw that in for this example. So you can go back as well.
But
if you're
and then
using
what
your
about if
mouse-
you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what about if you had, say, a video player, but that video player control within the presentation requires the person to click on the video as opposed to advance the slide?
Yeah. So if you're saying they have to click on the video to make it play, that's just hitting the next button. And so let me. I'm flexible here. Let me.
Okay, I don't mean to hold you up.
No. We're good.
Good to be able to test.
I'm going to create a new slide. I'm going to insert a video file from this device. Videos. Insert. I'm going to shrink the video down a little bit. Okay, and on the playback, the options here, I'm going to start in click sequence, loop until stop, no, rewind after playing, not a big deal. If I play it, yeah, it's playing. Okay, I think that option will require it to have to advance to play.
Okay.
So I'll start. We'll share slide control to Anissa.
Okay. Ooh, almost.
There's the video not started. Now go forward again and it should play. Yep.
It does. Okay.
Now to go ahead
And
and,
then
yeah,
go
click
on.
again and it kept going, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that
Now,
does
are
see
you
the trend.
doing all mouse clicks right now?
Yeah.
So,
Now, are arrows supposed to work or?
yeah, arrow, right arrow, left arrow should work if you haven't lost focus. If it doesn't work on the keyboard, click once forward and then start using your key, because the share has lost focus, if you will. But once it has focus,
Got it.
then you can do that. You can as well, you can bounce on the spacebar key and it will go forward as well.
So I'm surprised that it would let you use the space bar when the space bar can also be used to unmute.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a little confusing. But, okay. Cool. Thank you so much for letting me test that out.
You bet.
Okay.
So yeah, scheduling meetings, focus mode, closed captions, unjoined participants. I can't sample that out at this point. Avatar, share audio, dark mode. I think we've touched everything else. Unless you've got anything else, Joe or
Okay.
Anissa.
I'm
Good to
good.
go? Well, very
Appreciate
good.
it.
Always good to connect.
I'm good to go.
I won't, I'll either look for a guest host if either one of you are interested in playing that role next Friday. I'm going to be at that PGA event, but
I will be in Puerto Vallarta next Friday.
there you go. There you go. More reason
Yeah.
not to be here. That's awesome.
I would personally love to, but during the time of the meeting, I'm too distracted. It could be easily pulled away, so it
Yeah,
can't work.
no, I get it. I get
I
it.
might join in for
I'll,
a future one though.
I'll put the word out and see if I can get somebody. And I mean, great success. You know, Robert or Josh or somebody come in and
David or
fill it. Yeah, David has done it. Yeah, but if not, you know, you'll know why. But needless to say, always good to connect. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Give me a couple of weeks. I'll build a robo Jeff.
Robo Jeff, an avatar Jeff. All right. Hey,
All
take
right.
care, you guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.